safe and my entire family of these children that have been abducted.
Some students of the college narrated how they narrowly escaped the abduction, as they also look forward to seeing the release of their colleagues soonest.
They came in a large number, wearing military uniforms. They asked us to wake up and come out for morning prayer. When we hurriedly came out, they asked us to join a queue of students from some other hostels. So I managed to pull out of the queue and lay down in a nearby culvert and later sneak into the toilet. I came out after they had left. I am seriously terrified by the incident.
Meanwhile, Governor Bello Mohammed had, while receiving Zamfara State Council of Chiefs on a sympathy visit to Government House Gusau over the said event, said significant progress has been made in the effort to safely rescue the abductees. Earlier, the Zamfara State Police Command had dispatched 2 surveillance helicopters to reinforce ground troops around the areas where the abducted girls are believed to have been held hostage. In Gusau, Sadia Abubakar Tuno, NTA News.
All right, we join our correspondent live in Jangabe, a location where the schoolgirls were abducted. Shehu Mohammed Dati, if you can hear me loud and clear, what can you tell us at this time?
All right, good afternoon, Ruth. Yes, I'm right. Calm as people are still going about their normal businesses. And as the parents of our abducted students await their arrival or release, last night there was an abduction of another man at a nearby village called Askawa Village, not far away from Jengebe. I'm standing right beside me, alongside his wife. But they later released his wife when he protested that why are they taking him and his wife. They later release the wife and take him. As I'm speaking now, the whereabouts of the man that was kidnapped is yet to be known. And investigation we made this afternoon reveals that at the neighboring villages where the abductors are expected to have taken the girls, are saying that they are in hostage over 270.
And what about the security situation? What can you tell us about that? And no security personnel around there?
We actually don't know how far the negotiation is still going on, but this is what we found out. We equally found out that one Shitu Habibu Jengebe, whose niece is among the girls that were abducted, said he had a privileged information until 1 million naira is being paid per student. This is what is really happening here in Jengebe.
That's really serious, Chehu. I was asking earlier, I'm sure you didn't hear me. Were there no security personnel around the Jengebe? Because if we're hearing of such incidents happening around there by now, we should be expecting, or rather the community people should be expecting that security will be beefed up in that area. What did you notice?
Yeah, the security personnel are located close to the school that where the girls were abducted last Friday, but not within the villages, because we have not been to the villages to see whether there are security personnel around. But there are 2 outposts of security personnel close to the school that these students were abducted on Friday.
Okay, did you go to any of the families of the abducted schoolgirls? Did you visit any home?
We actually didn't visit any home, but we have the privilege of speaking with some of them. Even this morning, we spoke to one of the parents who expressed confidence that with the way the negotiation is going with the government and the abductors, they are quite sure that their daughters will be released. But we actually don't have the opportunity of going to any of the family house.
All right. Thank you very much, Shehu, for that update. We'll definitely keep in touch with you if anything should arise. Thank you. All right. Our correspondent Shehu Mohammed Detti giving a situation report at Jengabe. Let's look at more security issues. The need to prioritize security in remote rural areas as part of efforts to displace criminal elements occupying them has been re-echoed on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria. Well, the guests are unanimous that mass abductions in schools across Nigeria is a major challenge that must be tackled head-on with fusion of intelligence and security. Let's hear more from Lydia Simpson.
The guest, who described the recurring mass abductions and kidnapping for ransom as sad and embarrassing, lamented that the situation is a product of the absence of long-term security planning. They are, however, optimistic that the in-depth postmortem of past events can forestall a recurrence.
We need to call a spade a spade. Yes, we're in an emergency, we realize it, but unfortunately our actions do not speak that we're in an emergency. Governors have been speaking, I said it, we're in an era of public faux pas by governors. You've covered that extensively. It shouldn't be, but we haven't seen that type of realization of the emergency. So clearly, intelligence is there to be harvested.
What is Katsina State government doing about an in-depth study of that problem so that it can glean proper intelligence, proper information, refined information about what happened there, such that this can be prevented in future?
They again reiterated the need for identification of brains behind the planning, operations and execution to effectively nip the challenge from all angles.
That we're dealing more than just people who are out there and just look for ransom and are targeting school. They are targeting first and foremost the heart of what Northern Nigeria need to do to catch up with the rest of the world, which is education.
Even as an individual, there are things you can do. You are not completely powerless. There are precautionary measures you could take in planning your journey. If it is a private, if it's a commercial vehicle, right from where people are entering. No kidnapper attacks a place without surveillance.
They suggested a unified policy while also calling on security operatives to catch in on predictable failures to have the communities buy-in and ownership of not just partnering government in security, but fishing out the identity of outlaws. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Well, the Director General of the All Progressives Congress, Governors Forum, Salihu Mohammed Lukman, has called on the federal government to allow the creation of state police in the wake of rising attacks on schools. In a statement, the DG says Nigeria's national situation in the area of security is no longer acceptable and challenged the political class and sub-national entities to complement efforts of the federal government to reduce mass poverty, which he described as the factory producing kidnappers, bandits and terrorists. The APC Governors Forum DG added that now is the right time to consider and implement the All Progressives Congress Committee on True Federalism, led by Governor Nasir El-Rufai, which has, among other things, recommended the creation of state police. Well, the time has come for the messages of peace, justice and unity to be emphasized and drummed into the fabrics of the society and citizenry if humanity is to surmount current challenges bedeviling it. Well, that was the take-home at the International Parliament for Safety, Peace and Justice during the swearing-in of the First Minister of Women Affairs in Africa. Momso Damian Dati captured the event.
My duties and exercise. Dr. Juanita Wendu, a PhD holder in peace and conflict resolution, teacher, motivational speaker and preacher, taking oath of office as the First Minister for Women Affairs Africa on the platform of the International Parliament for Safety, Peace, Justice, United Nations.
We are going to look into various problems that faces African women. Violence, wars, rape, and a lot of them. Above all, hunger.
The place of peace in socio-economic and political development of any society is said to be top, and that explains why President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, was quick to stress its position in nation building.
Our own national anthem, it says to build a nation where peace and justice shall reign. The two go together. If we want peace, there must be justice.
the International Parliament for Safety, Peace and Justice has operated for over 34 years in Palimosili. It is an intergovernmental organization of states and has today parliamentary and diplomatic delegation in more than 130 nations.
Always preach forgiveness.
Special guests at the event who acknowledged the critical place of women in peace building are optimistic that with recent appointments of Nigerian women in key offices globally, there is hope for a better nation. Momso Damien Lati, NTA News.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has ruled out any increment in the ex-depot price of petrol in March 2021. A statement by the Group General Manager, Group Public Affairs Division, Dr. Kenny Obatero, stated that the corporation was not contemplating any raise in the price of petrol in March in order not to jeopardize ongoing engagements with organized labor and other stakeholders on an acceptable framework that will not expose ordinary Nigerians to any hardship. NNPC also cautioned petroleum products marketers not to engage in arbitrary price increase or hoarding of petrol in order not to create artificial scarcity and unnecessary hardship for Nigerians. The corporation further added that it has enough stock of petrol to keep the nation well supplied for over 40 days and urged motorists to avoid panic buying. The statement called on relevant regulatory authorities to step up monitoring of the activities of marketers with a view to sanctioning those involved in products hoarding or arbitrary increase of palm price. Well, we saw queues on Monday morning surfaced at some petrol stations in the FCT and its environs. Hawagimba went round town for us and brought the situation report.
Some petrol stations in the nation's capital indicate changes in pump price from 162 to 166 naira per litre, while others are not selling, resulting to long queues at the few filling stations that are open for business in the Federal Capital Territory. Driving through Kubwa Gwarimpa Expressway, our camera lens captured this long queue where motorists were scrambling to fill their tanks. The situation was not different as our camera lens captured this drama at the central area where some motorists are trying to shunt the queue, causing obstruction to others. For these residents who have been on queue since last night, they appeal to the authority to look into the situation.
I came here for over 4 hours. I've been waiting for fuel, to buy fuel. So they say from the news you hear this morning, they say you should not panic. That the fuel is because of the fuel price. They should resolve it.
It's a country that has all the resources. Why should we be going through this situation?
They, however, solicit government quick intervention to end fuel scarcity that motorists and other residents are presently coping with. Hawagimba, NTA News.
A look at education. All admissions in Nigeria's tertiary institutions for the 2020-2021 academic session would end by 15th June 2021. The decision was collectively taken at a virtual meeting with heads of tertiary institutions in the country. Registrar of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, said the meeting with the institutions was aimed at knowing the level they had reached on the 2020-2021 admissions scale and forestall an endless admission regime generated by a series of disruptions to daily life occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. The meeting is expected to enable the board to put necessary machinery in place for the 2021-2022 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination and Direct Entry Registration exercise. Professor Oloyede also informed the gathering that only 30% of institutions institutions had started admissions into the 2020-2021 academic session. Hence, the need to collectively decide when to close the 2020-2021 admission exercise. After an insightful deliberation, members collectively agreed that all public universities are expected to finish their admissions on or before 15th May 2021, while the private universities and all innovation enterprise institutions, polytechnics and colleges of education would complete theirs at the agreed date of 15th June 2021. Professor Oloyede reiterated that the chosen deadlines remained sacrosanct and binding on all institutions, as the board would not tolerate any breaches of the collective decision reached at the meeting. He said the board would announce in a week's time the commencement date for the sale of application documents for the 2021-2022 academic session. On the global scene, the World Trade Organization's first female and first African Director General, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, began work on Monday, ending a 6-month leadership void at the Global Trade Watchdog. The first day of the former Finance and Foreign Affairs Minister at the helm of the WTO coincides with a meeting of its top decision-making body, the General Council, after a long campaign that was derailed in the late stages by a Trump administration veto. The 66-year-old Nigerian was finally confirmed as WTO boss last month. Dr. Okonjo-Iweala had pledged to forget business as usual in the body which is struggling to strike new deals and whose arbitration functions are paralyzed. Its 164 member states will discuss topics such as trade, rules on COVID-19 vaccine distribution. It's time we head to Lagos. Let's find out what's happening there, and Michael is set to guide us.
Thank you, Ruth. The Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has begun the reclamation of the right-of-way at Ladipo Market from traders that have taken over the roads along the Apapa-Oshodi-Oworoshonki Expressway in Lagos. Dr. Ogunyemi reports that the move follows a series of eviction notices ignored by the unions.
On the 14th of January 2021, Minister of Works and Housing, Babatunde Fashola, visited Lagos to inspect the damaged airport link bridge following a tanker fire incident. The minister, during the visit, issued a 2-week notice to traders illegally occupying the right-of-way at Ladipo along the Apapa-Oshodi-Oworoshonki Expressway. 6 weeks after, this enforcement became necessary following a series of meetings between leadership of the market unions and the Federal Controller of Works to get them to comply with yet another eviction notice issued by the Lagos State Task Force, which expired on the 10th of February.
And that's why the task force was invited to come here and do the clearing of all the shanties so that we will be able to do our work on the service lane as well as to beautify the right-of-way.
To ensure compliance, the contractors have mobilized to site to erect barriers. The Federal Controller of Works urges anyone or organizations interested in beautifying the right-of-way located close to their businesses to seek approval from the ministry. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
The total reopening of the third Mainland Bridge has brought with it a new lease of life for residents of Lagos, with motorists now enjoying a smoother ride. Dr. Ogunyemi again reports on the current mode of motorists who had to contend with the challenges of partial closure.
For more than 24 hours after its full reopening, the third Mainland Bridge has resumed its role as one of the busiest across the country. And the difference can only be felt enjoying a smooth ride. Being a weekend, that caution should be the watchword when plying the bridge.
But the government have do their best. They have done their best, the very best. But it's better now with the drivers to be very, very, very careful, because I can see the way people drive reckless on the road is very bad.
It's always advisable for people to be cautious. Take your time while driving, because you should examine yourself as the only person that is sane on the road.
Other respondents are relieved about the reopening, but also concerned about cases of traffic robberies, as we also spotted security personnel who have also taken strategic positions on the bridge.
Just what the government should just do is they should just try and deploy more securities, but more police or whichever, maybe military personnel, maybe military presence or something. But I think I would prefer them to put in more security because we really need it on Lagos Road.
With the bridge now reinvigorated to take on the task for which it was built, motorists commended the quality of work done during the repairs, while urging the federal government to, as a matter of urgency, take on the repairs of other bridges across the state. In Lagos, Dotun Ogunyemi, NTA News.
As the fight against gender-based violence and sexual harassment continues, actions have been put in place to ensure total eradication. The Nigerian Labour Congress is championing this cause through a 3-day training and sensitization campaign for traders. Dana Ajale reports.
This is my 12th international market, one of the major foodstuff markets located in Koshofe local government area of the Lagos metropolis. Here, consumers can find all kinds of food items at a cheaper rate, which comes in directly from various parts of Nigeria. Aside buying and selling, other negative activities such as rape, gender-based violence also take place within the market environment.
Somebody wanted to buy your market and you are holding that person. You are harassing him.
To the Nigerian Labour Congress, training of specific members to handle such cases within the market environment as well as public sensitization is key to curbing the menace.
We want to have a free society where everybody will be free and where they will have a gender violence free society where they can actually sell and buy in an environment that you have eliminated gender-based violence and harassment.
We are going to create awareness in all the sections and all the stakeholders in the market, and we spread the information.
There is absolutely no reason why anybody should embarrass anybody because of dressing.
The Congress, however, advise victims to always speak out as stiff action will be melted on perpetrators of all forms of violence and sexual harassment. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Time now for some messages. The news continues with Ruth shortly after this break.
Cast media ecosystem is dynamic and requires continuous training for practitioners to perform optimally. NTA TV College Jos invites relevant officers to the following specially packaged training programs. Intermediate online news reporting skills. Date 1st March to 12th March 2021. 2 weeks. Studio lighting indoor and outdoor. Date 1st March to 5th March 2021. 1 week. Modern trends in broadcast media marketing. Date 15th March to 9th April 2021. 4 weeks. Understanding public service rules and mastering the art of standard minute writing, reports, memoranda, and briefs. Date 15th February to 12th March 2021. 4 weeks. The course fee for the 4-week courses is 100,000 naira per participant. The fee for the 2-week course is 80,000 naira, while the course fee for the 1-week course is 40,000 naira only. Accommodation inclusive. Venue for all the courses is the serene and secure environment of NTA TV College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be.
The second wave of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is upon us.
To safeguard lives of our people, the government has signed the Health Protection Regulations, which makes wearing a face mask mandatory in public places.
Wear a mask. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water, and use hand sanitizer.
COVID-19 is real. Do not be infected. Do not spread it. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
Let's bring you the latest update on COVID-19. 240 new COVID-19 infections have been recorded in Nigeria in the last 24 hours, bringing the caseload to 155,657. Data from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control indicates that the new infections occurred in 13 states and the FCT. Beginning with Anambra, which recorded 85 cases, Lagos 82, Osun 17, Ogun 10, Kwara 9, FCT 8, Kano 7, Abia 6, Borno 4, Edo, Bayelsa and Kaduna recorded 2 cases each, Rivers 1. So far, 155,657 cases have been confirmed, while 133,768 cases have been discharged, and death toll is now 1,907. The federal government has rolled out COVID-19 vaccine strategy ahead of the 4 million doses of vaccines expected in the country in few hours, tagged Teach. The strategy adopts traditional approach to vaccination, uses electronic registration and assisted electronic registration for eligible Nigerians. It also has provision for house-to-house registration to make vaccines accessible to rural dwellers who do not have access to internet. The Teach strategy also has phases for vaccination in the country, beginning with the frontline health workers and the elderly above 50 years with underlying health problems. The President, Vice President, Ministers and Governors will also be vaccinated at the first phase to assure citizens that the vaccines are safe.
What we have done with the Teach strategy is really to combine the first world approaches with our context in terms of our experiences with campaigns,
and ultimately vaccinating all eligible Nigerians within the next 2 years in order to ensure herd immunity.
States and local government areas with higher disease burdens will follow before the rest of the population will get their shots within the 2 years. And to another health concern, cervical cancer has remained a huge public health burden in many low and middle income countries around the world. And to minimize the effect of such health burden and boost the productivity of its personnel, the Nigeria Police Akwa Ibom State Command is conducting free cervical cancer enlightenment and screening for wives of its officers. Clement Barikio reports.
In most developing countries of the world, cervical cancer is ranked as either the most the second most common cause of cancer-related death in women. Studies indicate that an estimate of 14,943 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer every year, and 10,403 die from the disease in Nigeria alone. The pains and trauma of such cancer-related death is capable of throwing a gallant officer off balance. Hence, this cervical cancer training and screening for wives of police officers and men, wives of late police officers, as well as female police officers in Akwa Ibom State Command is apt.
It's one of the leading causes of cancer deaths in Nigeria currently and worldwide. And it's important we face it and we tackle it.
Working with POA on this aspect is to ensure a wider mobilization of the police officers' wives.
For the women, the program is one that will give them hope of a healthier and cancer-free tomorrow.
So if we are able to do this early diagnosis, I think it will help us more. It will educate the women better and know where to go to when they come down with cancer.
If we are sick now, our husbands will be distracted. So it is actually a program that came at the right time.
Hopefully from today onwards, women will be able to observe themselves and know when you are having a difference in your body system and how to tackle yourself, because the earlier the better.
Apart from cervical cancer screening, the women will also undergo other medical checkups within the 2 weeks that the program will last. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
Right, Benin is our next stop, and Agatha is set to bring us reports from that end. Agatha.
Thank you, Ruth, for joining us in Benin. Now, 1,000 graduates of a skill acquisition program in Edo State have received livelihood support equipment from Y4, the state governor, Betsy Obaseki, in partnership with Action Aid Nigeria. The project is sponsored by the Italian government to curb irregular migration. Elizabeth Thomoko reports.
Many youths have been deceived by the fact that they can only get greener pastures if they travel abroad. This has led to them embarking on risky journeys, not minding the consequences. This scenario, the wife of the governor, Betsy Obaseki, ties to poor governance over the years, hence the need for the empowerment.
We are praying that there be many more young people who will rise up to be responsible and to put to good use whatever trainings and empowerment and opportunities that come their way to make a good livelihood.
For the country director of the Action Aid Nigeria, Ine Obi, the project is to present alternatives to the trend.
The overall objective of this project is to contribute to improving socio-economic conditions of young people.
The beneficiaries of the skill acquisition training are happy to be part of it.
Today, I can sew. Yes, as you can see what I'm wearing, I've been improved and trained on how to train the teacher.
Items presented to the trainees include sewing machines, printers for graphic design, generators, makeup kits, shoe filing machines, among others. In Benin, Elizabeth Amako, NTA News.
Now, coping with challenges of COVID-19 in the past 1 year has not been an easy task for many Nigerians. Dennis Temple felt the pulse of some Nigerians in Benin City on how they are adapting to the new normal.
For many, 2020 started like every other year with the usual high expectations that come with the new year. Nobody anticipated that the year will come with one of the deadliest diseases ever to be recorded in the world.
It's not something we want to forget, even in the near future, because I've personally lost friends. And as I talk with you now, some of my friends are in hospital with COVID.
Coping with the pandemic in a country of about 200 million people is an enormous task in Nigeria. Some residents said the COVID-19 era has made them to be resilient and adaptive.
COVID has taught us new ways of living. We have no option.
For Dr. Rosemary Aipatai and others, setting priority during the last 1 year yielded positive results.
I take responsibility for the welfare of my kids, not leaving them to the school teachers to do. And economically, it has been very, very challenging.
And keep to the rules and regulation. You will be safe.
Nigerian government, irrespective of the numerous challenges, continues to give hope in defeating COVID-19 and reducing fatalities. In Benin, Dennis Temple, NTA News.
And that ends it here. Nationwide returns after this break with Suleiman in Kaduna Network Center. Please stay with us.
Hello, I bring you wonderful news. The Village Headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wire abi mi o wire. Teacher, lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Teacher jọ̀wọ́, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Ọmọ onírẹsì ti dé. Ìrẹsì ta sánsán.
Ajebo na better school for last gidi. Not be all this on a rugged school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
It's called Oja Village. Kadesi. We no happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders too. Hey, we are trying, Shao. Sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I mean, I talk with that now.
Not for me.
You won't make a guy.
Not for me because of Pamio.
Can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Some are unverified, inciting anger and hate. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
NTA News 24. A 24-hour news station brings to you news and happenings 7 days a week.
News at 10 a.m., news update at 11 and 1 p.m.
News desk at 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. and late evening news at 11 p.m.
Follow us on any of our platforms and keep abreast of events and current affairs within and outside our shores.
We are on DSTV channel 419, GoTV channel 46,
Star Times channel 101 and Free TV channel 703.
Join us.
Thank you, Agatha, there in our Port Harcourt Network Center. Welcome to Kaduna. At least 7,500 persons of concern are to benefit from the federal government's care and maintenance support items in Kano State. Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons, Bashir Garba Muhammad, disclosed this during the flag off of the distribution in the state. Abdullah Mustafa has the details.
Abdullah Ibrahim has been in a wheelchair for the past 20 years due to spinal injury. He is one of the 1,500 breadwinners targeted for the distribution of care and maintenance items by the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. Each household is given food items including bags of rice, beans, maize, guinea corn, as well as cooking oil, mattresses, and other essential needs.
The variety of food and non-food items given out today is targeted for 1,500 households, representing 7,500 displaced persons in support of your ongoing interventions.
This, according to the Refugees Commission, is part of President Muhammadu Buhari's initiative of improving the well-being of disadvantaged Nigerians. Another support is of an empowerment program for 1 million IDPs, under which more than 50 vocational skills are to be taught to the beneficiaries and starter packs given to each. Governor Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, who enumerated the various interventions of Kano State Government to IDPs and disaster victims, presented land certificate to the Federal Commissioner to fast-track the construction of 500 resettlement estates in the state by the federal government.
I'm happy to see the beneficiaries, in thousands of them, who are happy and waiting to be provided with these items. We have to thank Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Abdul Ibrahim and representatives of various categories of beneficiaries expressed gratitude to the federal government for the gesture. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The Hadija Jama'ar River Basin Development Authority is set to engage millions of Nigerians in the reactivation of more than 3,000 hectares of irrigable land, in line with the desire of the present administration to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Managing Director of the authority, Mahmoud Dawa Aliu, stated this while hosting management of NTA Dutse at the corporate headquarters of the authority in Kano. Awaliru Haruna reports that the agency executes its mandate in Kano, Jigawa, and Bauchi states.
Director recently appointed by President Muhammadu Buhari listed areas of focus to include massive irrigation farming in the three states of Kano, Jigawa, and Bauchi. He said agriculture, as emphasized by President Muhammadu Buhari, is the only way out of poverty. As the visit of NTA Dutse management was to explore areas of collaboration in promoting their activities, both the managing director and the general manager of NTA Dutse agreed to work together in this direction.
To explore areas of collaboration between NTA Dutse or NTA generally and Hadija and Jama'ar River Basin Development Authority towards publicizing their activities, their mandate, which is promoting agricultural development and also fighting poverty and proper utilization of water resources.
The Hadija Jama'ar River Basin Development Authority is currently executing a Hadija Irrigation Valley project worth 9 billion naira. Hawa Haller Haruna, NTA News.
And with that report is back to Ruth in Abuja. Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, Suleiman. Just like yesterday, the clock has again turned round to another March when the International Women's Day is observed. This year is, however, focusing on celebrating every woman's right and zero tolerance to discrimination and inequality. Momso Damian Detti has more on this.
Diverse groups of women and international partners rubbing minds ahead of this year's International Women's Day.
Because of the trauma, the young ladies,
the creation of an inclusive world.
Say no to gender-based inequality.
I choose to challenge women leadership in sustainable development.
Though the message for this year revolves around issues of discrimination, inequality and lack of respect for women's rights, there is, however, an ugly phenomenon threatening the women folk.
About 1,157 students have been kidnapped in 7 years. This is unbelievable and we must not stay silent anymore. We owe it to our children to push until something happens. Yes, my heart is torn into pieces at the mindlessness of the perpetrators of this crime against humanity. We are appealing to our leaders at all levels to pay attention to the infrastructural development and security of our schools.
This year, the theme for the event is Zero Discrimination. In Abuja, Momso Damian Detti, NTA News.
On the judiciary scene, hearing resumed on Monday in the trial of the former chairman of the defunct Pension Reform Task Team, Abdurrashid Maina. The defendant opened his defense by calling his first witness, Ngozika Ihoma, to testify. He told the court that he worked as a biometrics consultant for the pension task team, together with Maina and other team members, in which a total sum of 1.6 trillion naira was recovered in cash and other assets for the government during the 2011 nationwide pension verification exercise.
And we are happy for the opportunity that has been given to us to also enter our defense. You've heard the revelation that is being made. By tomorrow, we are sure we will conclude for this particular witness so that we'll have an opportunity of getting our own defense out in the open.
Counsel to the defendant Sani Katu SAN informed the court of his intention to call more witnesses when the matter resumes on Tuesday. Maina is facing charges of alleged pension fraud to the tune of 3.1 billion naira. The Nigerian Army 13 Brigade has confiscated substances suspected to be hard drugs from 2 suspects arrested at various locations in Cross River State. Achibong Basi reports that the suspects have been handed over to the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency for further investigation and prosecution.
Suspect one Efanga, who claims to be a mason involved in building houses, was arrested by troops of the Nigerian Army 13 Brigade under the Cross River State Internal Security Outfit Operation Akpako at Ikpeyongekpo in Akpabuye local government area of the state. In another raid, the second suspect, Enobong Udeme, was also arrested at number 64 Nelson Mandela Street, Calabar, for peddling in substances suspected to be hard drugs.
God knows my hand, my leg is not, I don't know about even to smoke. I don't know. And they say I should confess. I said I don't have anything to confess.
The officer commanding 13th Brigade Provost, Major Stanley Ikpeme, handed over the suspects and the substance to the Nigeria Drug Law Enforcement Agency on behalf of the brigade commander for detailed investigation and possible prosecution. Mohammed Abubakar, a principal staff operation officer, NDLEA, says the substance will be subjected to a laboratory test to ascertain if it is hard drugs. In Calabar, Achibombasi, NTA News.
As part of efforts to reduce environmental degradation and halt the spread of preventable communicable diseases, 250 youths are receiving training on how to effectively enforce environmental sanitation laws and ethics across communities in Niger State. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo reports that the 2 weeks intensive training is put together under the auspices of the National Community Ethics and Values Environmental Compliance Corps, Niger State Command.
Sanitation and lack of environmental education are among the challenges constituting dangers to the environment. Threats such as open defecation, indiscriminate dumping of refuse, which in most cases leads to flooding in Nigeria, are all attributed to lack of environmental literacy. This informed the training by the National Community Ethics and Values Environmental Compliance Corps to address the enormous environmental challenges. The trained more than 250 youths are expected to enforce environmental ethics and laws in communities across Niger State.
It's just like a war against indiscipline during Buhari's regime. It actually saved millions of people from these sicknesses.
All the 25 local governments they are present here. Value the world phase of society is cleanliness of the environment.
As far back as good Lord Ebele Jonathan's administration, that Dr. Sarah Jibril initiated this particular move. Now that it's coming to reality, it is a joy of all of us.
While urging the youths to adhere strictly to the rules and regulations established in the Corps, the speakers implored all government and non-governmental organizations to engage the youths and provide them with office accommodations in their various domains to enable them to execute their task. In Mina, Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
The federal government youth empowerment program on production of organic fertilizer through the use of rabbit urine is yielding result, as evident in the unveiling of the product in Owerri, Imo State. Reina Ohiri was at the official unveiling by the National Agricultural Land Development Authority.
Towards the end of year 2020, the federal government empowered some youth and women through the distribution of rabbits and feed to enable them produce organic fertilizer that can be used by farmers. The outcome of the pilot scheme prompted this gathering. The Executive Secretary of National Agricultural Land Development Authority, Prince Paul Ikone, who addressed the participants, says the pilot states, which are Abia, Imo, Cross River, and Oyo, have so far harvested 5,000 of the rabbits shared to them. He says the rabbit urine, which serves as organic fertilizer, was subjected to laboratory tests before its confirmation as rich for farming and beneficial to the country.
It's money-making machine because everything that has to do with rabbit is just money. The waste, money. The skin, money. The meat is money. So it's encouraging for our youth to engage in rabbit rearing.
Some of the farmers expressed satisfaction with the federal government's initiative, describing it as a major boost to the policy of ensuring food sufficiency in the country.
2 months, I think I should be expecting close to 30,000 naira or 20-something thousand naira as a salary because of the urine.
It is expected that more women and youth will venture into this field to harness the financial benefits of this unique organic fertilizer. In Owerri, Reina Ohiri, NTA News.
Talking sports, Team Nigeria tipped to excel at African Nations Volleyball Championships in Abuja. Tamara Ebiwe brings us sports update.
Welcome to Sports Update. With hostilities set to begin in the 2021 Under-18 Girls and Under-19 Boys African Nations Volleyball Championships in Abuja on Thursday, the Nigeria Volleyball Federation expresses optimism in the ability of the nation's representatives to excel in the week-long tournament en route to the World Cups.
Oh, definitely we have to go up. We want to defend our position on the 19. And my expectation is that my girls also, they should go up